Hi, welcome to Mist. I'm Coach Nikita, and this is lesson number 31 of Green Ball. Let's talk mind and body. First of all, why are we talking about this? Well, if your athlete has been playing, has started playing from age of 7, they finished red ball at 8, finished orange ball at 9, and they're about to finish their green ball around 10 and a half years of age. And during that time, exactly about that time, they start to develop certain tendencies of frustration, okay, certain habits, like starting to say things more as opposed to not saying anything. So this develops as maybe, first some grunts, some signs, some no's, some dangs, some shoots, then maybe dropping of the racket on the ground. Who knows, maybe even throwing the racket. Body language, and well, what does that mean? Well, head down, just, or maybe like, oh my God. Well, you know all this stuff. So what are the things that we can do? Well, there are some things we can do. Well, let's talk about 4 of them: mindfulness, yoga, meditation, and diaphragmatic breathing. Now let's just move diaphragmatic breathing out of the way. This is a Wim Hof method. There's actually many other methods, but check that one out. Let's move that out of the way. You can do that yourself. Okay, let's go into yoga. Yoga, we all know yoga helps with stretching, loosening up the fascia, which is fascia is the one that's stretching, actually. It's interesting. Apparently, I don't think you can stretch the muscles. Although I'm not a doctor, but as far as I've done the research, it's the fascia that stretches. So, yoga out of the way. Okay, what do we have left? We have mindfulness. Mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is paying attention to a present moment in a specific way on purpose. That's the definition. And, well, what does that mean? Well, it means that you can do that on courts. For example, when the coach is asking you to do, specific drill, and they want you to pay attention to what happens when the racket is behind you. Like, let's say that's the net, and right here, and I take my racket back right here. What happens? What happens over here? I need your mind to think about that, okay? What happens when the ball bounces on the court? Where is your racket behind you? What is your wrist doing? That's mindfulness, okay? We got that out of the way. The last thing is frustrations. Now, with regards to frustrations with young athletes, I found out that there's very little you can do, because I feel like their mind hasn't grown yet. They haven't developed those, just physical structure of the brain hasn't developed yet, and it only finishes until the frontal lobe has to grow all the way to the age of 25. So, I mean, you're not going to wait until they're 25 to explain to them about frustration. So how do we do that? Talking about it, I found out that it doesn't work. They just don't understand it. I mean, they keep doing the same thing. Like I happen to play with students, and I can see, even though the score is tied, their frustration and their happiness level just goes up and down, like this, like a cosine wave. It's crazy. So, and it almost doesn't seem to matter how many times you talk to them. So what can you do? Well, you can try to implement certain games into the practice where frustration is being tested. Okay, for example, let's say during the next game, during the next set, you're not allowed to show any body language. Okay, no positive, no negatives. Okay, let's say the next set you can only show the positive body language. The next set you can only show the negative body language. And why are we doing the negative? Well, we're doing it because we need to understand what it is, so they understand how bad they feel during that time. Okay, so they get this range, and so they start to understand the difference and start to control it, because they don't understand it. You can't explain it to them in words. You have to understand. You have to explain it to them while they're doing it. You know, talk to the body. Talk to the body through these practices. How else can you work on frustration? Well, or mental work. Well, you can start, you know, with 3 in a row, you win the point, or 3 in a row if you're attacking, you win the point, or 2 in a row if you're returning, you win the point, or some other ones. Let's say you start with, you know, 4 all, 30 all. You know, you start like that. You know, the next 2 points, you know, basically pressure points, or it's always starting at, you know, deuce or something. So there's many things that you can do. Here's another one. Give athletes cards where it says like cheating cards, or for example, you can call out and like draw a card on the next point that you lost and say it says out on it, okay, and you say, I'm going to use this card, and even if it dropped in the middle of the courts, you can use the card to say out and see how the other kid feels. So it tells them, it lets them, you know, build that barrier towards frustration, so that we're able to control it in the future. So there's many things you can come up with like that. So please, I found it easier to do that as opposed to trying to sit down and have a discussion about it, because it just doesn't happen. The brain's not there yet. Okay? Fantastic. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.